All right, today I'm going to be showing you guys how I created that effect with the meteor going through the clouds, and we're just going to rifle through it and get straight to it really quick. So what I want you to do is duplicate your main layer, and then we're just going to rename it key just to stay kind of organized while we're doing this, and then I want you to disable the clip. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to add the extract effect to that layer that we're calling the key. Then go to the whites, make sure it's on luminance. Go to your whites and pull it down until you start to see it's keying out the whites in the image. And then right around when you get to something that you like, which is around here, where I was like, okay, this is the perfect spot where it's going to be in the sky. I want you to grab that bottom bar and pull it toward the right. And this is what creates that gradual fade in between, where it's still leaving bits of the black in the alpha channel, but also mixing it in with the white, which would be the clouds behind it. And this is what's going to make it look like it seamlessly gets integrated into the scene a lot better than doing it the other way. Then I want you to disable it, just put it underneath, and then re-enable your main clip. And depending on what you're doing, track the scene, but I'm just gonna 3D track it because that's what I was doing for this stuff. All right, now that we got the 3D track done over here, I'm just gonna grab a whole bunch of these points, whatever, create a solid in camera, and this solid is just gonna be a reference for the position data for when I put the asset in. So I'm just gonna disable that, put that at the bottom because it really doesn't matter, and I'm gonna put the 3D camera at the bottom too, and just make sure that my main footage is at the top. Then I'm going to go and grab the asset that I'm using, place it inside of the scene, and we're going to actually change this anchor point right to where the comets actually are. So you just press the Y button and put that anchor point somewhere around here, and it's just going to scale from there to make sure that the image kind of doesn't go in the wrong direction when we're scaling and end up somewhere else. But nonetheless, the next thing that you're going to do is turn this into a 3D layer, press P on that track solid, get the position, and then paste it to the meteor. And now this is going to have it locked into the spot that you wanted it to initially. Then I'm just going to rotate it a bit because this looks weird in that angle. Then I'm going to pull it up to about over here, pull it back. We're going to scale it to make sure it's a bit bigger. I think something around there should be good. Put it around here, rotate it again. And as you can see, it's pretty much in the scene at a good spot now, at least I feel. And we're going to make some adjustments going. But for now, I think this is pretty decent for what we're trying to do. Maybe somewhere around here is pretty good. All right, so when you're doing this also, here's another trick. This is log footage. When you have Rec 709 assets, you want to blend them into the scene because your shadows are going to be lifted, your highlights are going to be dropped, and your contrast is going to be off in the log footage, and the assets are going to be complete opposite. So here's what I do all the time. And we're not going to get too deep into it, but this is just the general. You can get really specific, but just follow what I'm doing. You're gonna go to your levels effect and you're gonna pull back your blacks until they're about as dark as the darkest thing in that scene. So I'd say somewhere around here. What's cool about this too is if you put your AR around here, if you look at the top right, it's telling you the values of the blacks in the info region here. So if you look at the values, saying somewhere between the 7,000, I'd say 7,200 is around the region of it. So if I go back to over here and I find the blackest spot inside of my image, you can see that let's say somewhere around here. I'd say it's pretty good. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the whites, and we're gonna drop them down. We make sure our highlights match the scene too. And I'd say something around there is really good. The other thing about log footage is it's desaturated. So now I want you to add another effect, which is hue and saturation, and then I want you to drop it to, this is my go-to number at least, minus 60. Yeah, I think something like that looks really cool. Now that we have this and it's kind of blended a little bit better into the scene, you can see there's actually like a hint of green inside of this whole scene. There's like a hue. So what else I will do is add a curves effect, and then we'll go to the green channel and we're just going to pull it up just a tad bit. You see what I'm saying? Like right around. All right, I think that looks really good. Now if we turn it on and off, you can see it's kind of like integrated a tad bit better into the scene. All right, so cool. Here's the next trick. Here's the final thing. This is exactly how you make the whole effect happen. No joke. The last thing that you're going to do now to really tie this into the scene, this is the whole trick behind it. Now to finally tie this effect all in, what I want you to do is to go to your track mat, and if you don't see it, just hit toggle switches and it should pop up, and you're going to use that key layer as a track mat for this. Now you can see it's behind the clouds, but it's in front of the building. So what I want you to do is to hit the invert effect, and now it's going to do the opposite, where it doesn't show out where you don't want it to be. And as you can see is if you take this off right now, you don't have this mat completely here, then it would be actually moving in front of the objects, which is what you don't want. You want to obscure where it's coming from. Another trick that you can use if you like the way something like this looks right off the top is if you want to integrate it into the clouds more, go to the key layers footage and you can just change the key amount, right? And now you can see that it obscures it more behind the clouds depending on what you're looking for. And I think it's pretty cool because it makes it look like it's actually moving through the sky rather than on top or below it. Then from there, it's really just a matter of creativity. What I did is I went here, then I put the deep glow effect on here, and which looks really cool too, because you can see the light coming through the clouds, but that doesn't look right because smoke doesn't glow. So I went to my input, I changed my threshold, turned it up probably to around somewhere around here, and we're gonna put the radius up a tad bit more, just make sure that it has a better spread on it. And now you can add also, this is a given, you need motion blur inside of your scene. Then I would add a LUT to it, which is a conversion. I'm using a Sony documents. Sorry, I'm just going through and going to my LUTs. Open them up, and this is the Rec 709 conversion LUT from Sony, and this is what's going to bring it back into its regular color space. And then on top of that, I'm going to add another adjustment layer. Sorry there. On top of that, I'm going to add another adjustment layer. Then I'm going to add another LUT to it, and that one, I actually like this gamut conversion. This is a creative LUT. You can use whatever you want, and I'm going to use this distant teal effect on top of it. And you can adjust your curves and whatnot in between and do some cool stuff in it, but essentially this is exactly how I ended up making this scene, and it's a very neat, very easy trick, and you could replicate it doing it for something similar or something that you want to get done too. Yeah, and this is exactly how I created this effect. If you guys found it useful, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the page, and share it with somebody that you think would find this useful. Otherwise, I'm going to be staying more frequent with doing this stuff. Stay tuned, and there's going to be a lot more coming. And if you have suggestions, just let me know. Peace out for now, and get out there and start creating, because there's no perfect time like right now. It's not your gear, it's you. So get out there and create. Peace.